What's up guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video. Today we're actually going down to Escondido from Los Angeles, which is actually about like 120 miles. But the thing is, I didn't charge the Tesla Model 3 up last night. We actually left with only 50% of the battery. So which means just to get back up to Los Angeles, we're gonna have to charge the Tesla. So we're gonna see how long it takes to charge up the Tesla Model 3 from 20 or 18% all the way to 88% at a Tesla Supercharger. All right, let's get into the video. Thanks for watching another video. If you're new here, my name is Dennis. I just picked up this Tesla Model 3 and I make videos about my experience, including a weekly autopilot video in Los Angeles traffic. So if you're interested in any of that, please hit that subscribe. So again, Escondido is about 111 miles away from Los Angeles. And we actually didn't charge the Tesla Model 3 last night to 100%, and we left with about 50% of the battery, if not a little bit more. As it currently sits, we've been driving for an hour so far. We have 108 miles left of range, or 35% of the battery, and it says we should arrive with 18% of the battery. When I actually left earlier, it was only saying that we were gonna arrive with 9% of the battery, which 9% comes out to be about maybe 27 miles, give or take, of range, like 3 miles for every 1% of range, but 18% should give us about 50 to 60 miles of range. The one interesting thing is that the place that we're going in Escondido, on the way back, there's not necessarily a supercharger that's right off the highway. So it looks like I'm gonna have to double back to the Carlsbad supercharger, which is about 12 miles away from our location. So we should be able to make it, hopefully, as long as we drive conservatively and we arrive with 18% of the battery. And then we take a quick trip to the nearest supercharger, which is 12 miles away. So that should use only like 5% of the battery. And then we should be able to charge from about 10% all the way to 80%. So we're gonna see how long it takes to charge from a low state of charge on the Tesla battery at one of these superchargers all the way up to 80% in the real world. As you can see, I've been driving pretty conservatively, 68 to 70 miles an hour. I do have the AC on, but I'm probably gonna turn that off at some point when we get out of this bright sun heating up the cabin. And it looks like we're still gonna arrive with 18% of the battery at our first location, but hopefully we can increase that by driving maybe a little bit more slower or turning off the air conditioning. Okay, so we just finished what we had to do in Escondido, and we actually arrived with about 17% of the battery, but now the battery is down to 16%. We're cutting it actually pretty close. The Tesla says that we have 47 miles of more range that we can drive, and the nearest supercharger is in Carlsbad at 12 miles. It's actually not too close, but this is certainly the closest that I've ever done. So here is the closest supercharger. It's another 10 miles or so away, and then we have to go back up north for another 110 miles to go back up to Los Angeles. There are a couple superchargers, like this one is about 34 miles away, which if we tried to do that on a 47 mile range, it might not make it, so that's probably way too close in San Clemente. Also, I noticed that there's only like 5 of 21 superchargers available, but this supercharger does charge faster at 150 kilowatts than the one that we're going to right now. The one that we're going to in Carlsbad only charges up to 72 kilowatts. Earlier it was saying there was 9 or 10 superchargers available. Now there's only 7. So this is gonna get pretty close as we get there. All right guys, let's be on our way and then check out the supercharger so we can see how long it takes to charge from 14% all the way up to 80%. All right, so this is actually probably not that bad. We're about 1.5 miles away, and the range says that we still have about 39 more miles of range, and we're arriving with 13% battery. Probably could have made it to the supercharger that was 30 miles away, but I guess it's not worth risking. Especially just to get to that supercharger, we probably would have had to drive at a speed of 70 miles plus because it was all highway to get there. All right, so we're almost at the supercharger, so we'll see. Hopefully it's not too packed. It was earlier saying there's only 7 stalls available, but California does this thing where they'll block adjacent spaces next to superchargers so that you can get a full rate of charge when you're charging up at the supercharger. Let's go ahead and charge this car. All right, there we go. I think these charges can only go up to 74 kilowatts, but that's at 220 miles an hour. So we're just gonna sit here until we get to 80%, but it looks like it's gonna take us about an hour just to charge that. So let me just set this limit down. I'm at 90% now, so let me set that to 80%. That should be more realistic, kind of that 20% to 80% charge at a supercharger, and see how long it takes. Hopefully it takes quicker than 50 minutes, but we'll kind of see as we sit here. All right, so we're about halfway there. We've been here for about 20 to 25 minutes, I would say. Got here at 12:57 p.m. We've charged about 86 miles and it's cost us about $6.16. And the battery is up to 129 miles. So that's probably a little bit less than 40% or 50% of the battery, probably like 40%. So we got another 30 more minutes to go until we get to 80%, and then we can be on our way. All right, so we're basically done. Another 5 minutes to go. Car has 238 miles. It's almost 80% charge. We've been here for almost an hour. We got here at 12:57 and it's 1:54 p.m. right now. We've added 196 more miles and for a total cost of $14. And we've averaged anywhere between 50 to 60 kilowatts at a charge rate about 200 and 240 miles an hour. All right, so it's almost done, and then we're gonna be on our way and give you my thoughts. All right, so we just left. We're on our way back to Los Angeles. It's gonna take us another hour and a half because it's 120 or 111 miles to go back up. But we were there at the Tesla Supercharger for a little under an hour, or basically an hour. We charged up 270 miles, or from 15% all the way to 80%. It actually only took an hour, so I was actually pleasantly surprised by that. This charger was rated at a 72 kilowatt hour charger, and there are chargers that are 150 kilowatts, so almost double. But most of the time we charged at like a 50 to 60 kilowatt rate. So it wasn't even at the max charging rate that we could potentially charge at. So I bet if we went to one of the other chargers that were faster, like 150 kilowatt hour chargers, then we probably would have got the same amount of charge, that 20 to 80% in maybe 30 to 45 minutes, which would cut that time in half. The time spent at the charger wasn't that bad at all. The hour went pretty quickly, probably because I went to get a smoothie and I got a bite to eat because there was a place nearby. So it actually went pretty quickly and it wasn't too bad at all. One thing I did want to note is that the 207 miles that I got from the supercharger would have cost $14.56. But thanks to you guys and thanks to everyone who's used my referral code, I actually have a ton of supercharger miles. Well, not really a ton, actually only 5,000 to 6,000. So I have a lot to use that are free, and it's all thanks to you guys. But yeah, thanks for watching. Hit that like if you enjoyed this video, and comment below on what you think about the video. If you have a Tesla, then you know exactly the feeling that I'm experiencing when I charge up at a supercharger. But if you don't have a Tesla, let me know your thoughts on how long it took to supercharge the vehicle from 20 to 80%. I'd love to hear your thoughts. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next one. See ya.